What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. So Mean Streets of Gadgetzan is turning out to be a really awesome expansion, and Blizzard definitely pushed the envelope with it, printing some really strong cards that pushed a lot of different archetypes. Most of the really OP cards that they printed have found some really good homes in some top tier decks, although a few have maybe yet to fit well into a deck despite their power level. Either way though, taking a look at the most OP cards in the expansion so far can definitely help give people a really good insight into maybe some deck building ideas, as well as where Blizzard is headed with the game. And you know, it's kind of just fun to take a look at. So today, we're looking at the top 10 best cards from the Mean Streets of Gadgetzan expansion so far. Now our list might be a little bit different from yours since, you know, people do have different opinions on cards and stuff, but these are definitely 10 of some of the best cards in the expansion at least. Either way though, hope you guys enjoyed the video. And at number 10, we've got Grimestreet Outfitter. So this is probably the only card on our list that hasn't entirely found a home in a top tier deck just yet at the time of making this video, but it is still, we're putting it at number 10, Grimestreet Outfitter. So buffing things in your hand is a pretty interesting ability, and the fact that Outfitter is a 2-drop that actually buffs every single minion in your hand is actually pretty insane. You know, if you hit at least 2 minions or more with this, which is a very realistic situation, since you're probably building your deck around this type of effect, you're already getting some really amazing value. You know, even if you hit just 2 minions, you get 3/3 worth of stats for only 2 mana. Outfitter is definitely going to be an insanely powerful tool, and honestly, potentially at least, a pretty oppressive card if Aggro Paladin ever emerges as a strong deck later on, because it's not too difficult to get, you know, 4/4, 5/5, even 6/6 worth of stats from this card potentially. Comboing Divine Favor into this and having a million buffed minions in your hand is going to be pretty powerful, so we'll have to see if that sort of archetype, if that sort of deck has enough support other than this card by itself to where it can be competitive. Either way though, it definitely has not found a solid home just yet, but the effect is just too strong to ignore, and it's definitely one of the more powerful cards in the expansion in general. Up next at number 9, we have Abyssal Enforcer. So this card has honestly proved to just put in so much work and really be crazy powerful. You know, Hellfire is already an effect that Renal Lock decks play and are really happy with and are satisfied with, and for just 3 more mana you get a 6/6 body attached to it. Too much AoE board clears is never really a bad thing in inconsistent decks like Reno, and this card just adds to the powerful board clear options that Warlock has access to in general. It's really difficult to not get insane value out of this card in most games, and even developing it as a threat on an empty board sometimes, which is pretty much the worst case scenario, isn't honestly all that bad. Enforce's ability is also a battle cry, so it's really awesome with things like maybe Brand Bronzebeard, and it's relevant against bounce effects like Sap and stuff like that. Either way, Enforcer has been a powerhouse card for the controlling Warlock decks out there, and it's probably one of the cooler cards of the expansion too. Moving on, at number 8, we have Kun The Forgotten King. Now this card is definitely one of the coolest of the expansion. You know, first of all, once you get up to 10 mana, you get to choose between a 0 mana 7/7 or just a Shield Maiden on steroids in Druid. But just in case that isn't enough for you, Kun being a card single-handedly enabled just a ton of really awesome but not too overpowered combo decks. The basic premise, of course, is you cast Aviana, cast Kun for 1 mana, and refresh your mana crystals and just start going off. Maybe you could play like Malagos and Faceless and a bunch of spells to kill your opponent, or a Bran and a bunch of Cthulhu buffs or something like that, and maybe you use Cthulhu to go for the kill. Both of these combos could maybe also be sped up by Alex Strazing the opponent first, all for the small price of 1 mana. And the really awesome thing about this card and the decks in general is that a lot of the time you can go off without having all the combo pieces in your hand, since you can use 1 mana Auctioneers and Azure Drakes and stuff, maybe draw into the final few combo pieces. Either way, the combo decks Kun enables have been really awesome, and they've also been really competitive, but without being too oppressive, and Kun's honestly a pretty good card without them as well, so he definitely deserves a spot on the list. Up next at number 7, we have Aya Blackpaw. So Jade Druid has been a really strong deck, and some of the cards from it definitely deserve to be on this list, but it can be a little bit difficult to say which ones exactly since they're all so reliant on one another. Still though, if any card from the deck deserves a spot on the list, Aya is definitely going to be one of them. You know, not only does she ooze value from the 2 Jade Golems that she makes, or potentially even more with Bran or N'Zoth shenanigans, But the second golem being a death rattle means that you can both play Aya to build up a strong board, and she has built-in protection and resilience against board wipes like Twisting Nether once you built up that strong board in the first place. Aya has been pretty much the flagship of Jade decks in general, not even just the Druid archetype, and she's been a really strong value card, and overall she definitely deserves a spot on our list. Now next up at number 6 on the list, we have Jade Idol. Now we've talked a little bit already about Jade Druid, but honestly this card would probably belong on the list even if that deck didn't necessarily exist. You know, the fact that Druid got a 1 mana, 1 card to counter any deck that wants to fatigue ever, that isn't also entirely useless in other matchups as well, is actually kind of insane. You know, imagine a 1 mana 1/1 card that had the text, if your opponent's main win condition is fatigue, you just straight up win the game. And that's pretty much what Jade Idol actually is. And even if Jade Druid wasn't that competitive of a deck, it's a card that's so powerful and just so flexible. You can even use it as like a 1 mana 1/1 creature against aggro decks, and you only really need to play 1 copy of it to actually beat fatigue decks. Now obviously Jade Idol is of course amazing in Jade Druid and is far from being just a fatigue counter, but the fact that a single card pretty much invalidates or at least completely counters or keeps in check a whole slew of decks is super busted and honestly makes Jade Idol an insane card for as long as it's going to be in standard. Up next at number 5 we have Drakonid Operative, and there's not really too much to talk about this guy other than the fact that he's really just an amazing card all around. You know, a 5/6 for only 5 mana is amazing stats. Being a dragon as well means Operative enables the rest of the Dragon Priest cards, and the ability is honestly just amazing. It's completely insane, you know. Getting to discover a card from your opponent's deck is way better than getting a card at random, because the cards that your opponent puts in their deck are going to be pretty good most of the time. A lot of the time, the 2 random cards that you get from Thoughtsteal could potentially even be less useful to you than the 1 single card that you discover from Operative. Whatever the case, Operative is an amazing beater, provides a ton of late game utility in the card that you discover, and is a dragon, so it synergizes great with the entire archetype and the rest of the deck, and it's definitely been a powerhouse card for Priest in the expansion so far. Moving on to number 4, we have Smalltime Buccaneer. So Buccaneer together with Patches the Pirate are really what has made the Aggro Shaman and Pirate Warrior decks so good and really just so relevant in the expansion thus far. You know, with wanting to pull Patches out and really just as an aggro deck in general, all pirate decks want a ton of 1-drops to get that really aggressive opener. And Smalltime Buccaneer is one of the best 1-drops that you could have hoped for. You know, it can be a 3/2 for only 1 mana, so it applies just a ridiculous amount of aggressive pressure, and the 2 points of health as well means that it's at least somewhat resilient to removal, at least as far as 1-drops go. And this card alone has shaped the meta a ton, and as a result definitely deserves a spot on our list. Next up at number 3 we have Dragonfire Potion, and oh man, this card was really pushed heavily, and I mean like it was really pushed by Blizzard in the design. You know, a board wipe that doesn't hit a certain tribe or like certain set of minions would already be really amazing, but since it lets you kill all of your opponent's minions while keeping all of yours, and as well it also has a really good cost for dealing 5 damage, Dragonfire Potion honestly tops out as just an amazing effect. It would be an awesome card even if you were just playing it as a board wipe with no dragon synergy, if it was just deal 5 damage to all minions. And the fact that it can potentially kill all of your opponent's board while leaving 7 of your minions alive makes Dragonfire Potion definitely one of the most powerful cards in the entire expansion, and probably the best AoE spell in Hearthstone altogether. Now rounding out at number 2 with the second to last card on our list today, we have Gadgetzan. So being a 4 mana 3/3 in stats isn't actually too awful, but obviously the potion ability is just crazy powerful. And there's definitely a lot of decisions to make, but the big Gadgetzan potions can win previously just totally unwinnable games, and the smaller ones are super mana efficient and can come in like super clutch. Gadgetzan is a card that really just every Reno deck that has access to is going to play for pretty much as long as it's playable, and that's because it can, you know, literally do pretty much anything. Gadgetzan is without a doubt one of the most versatile and powerful cards in the entire game, let alone the expansion, and so it definitely deserves a really high spot on our list, and overall it's probably the coolest card of the expansion so far. And at number 1, you know, what's going to be better than the almighty Kazakus? Well, apparently it's going to be a 1-mana 1/1 creature with charge, and that's right, it is Patches the Pirate. And Patches is a card that's actually just been so ridiculously pushed. You know, getting a free 1/1 charge creature whenever you play a pirate is actually just so insane since it's not costing you anything. No mana, no cards, nothing. And thinning your deck so that you can draw your really powerful cards later on in the game is also really good too. You know, Patches is honestly just super broken, and without him, every pirate deck altogether would probably drop a spot on their tier list. And really, just because he enables the pirate archetype in general, and the pirates have really been what's dominating the meta so far, overall has made Patches the Pirate the most broken card in all the mean streets of Gadgetzan so far. Either way though, those are our top 10 cards for the expansion. How's your top 10 different? You know, definitely let us know in the comment section below. Either way though, looks like that's going to be it for me. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like, subscribe if you want. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.